Today we're on our way to Big Bear Lake in Southern California in the San Bernardino Mountains. Well, I stopped at the ranger station back there just to look at the board, and fire restrictions are in effect, so I guess that means cold camp tonight. Not really my favorite way, but if I can find a nice little spot with some quiet, I'll be happy. I'll just go to sleep early. You should seriously Google this road. It's the 330 out of San Bernardino, which goes up to the 18. I mean, this is the windiest thing. I've forgotten just how much it was until I look at the map. Oh my goodness. I kept trying to figure out why I was smelling something scorchy when I'm going uphill. It's not me, it's the people smoking their brakes coming down the hill that don't know how to downshift. Lovely. When I was leaving the gas station back there, I saw a sign that said Deep Creek Drive-In. I'll just leave you to think about that. Now we're curving around and heading back downhill. There's a lot of up and down on this road, as well as side to side. So I think, if I remember correctly, lose some elevation and then we're going to go back up again. And they are not kidding on these 20-mile-an-hour signs on some of these curves. So we're at the lake. I actually chose to go left and take North Shore Drive a little ways. Pull out and let this guy pass me. The lake is right there. There's some construction and delays going the other direction out towards Serrano Campground, which is very popular. I'm hoping on a weekday there's going to be empties without needing reservation. But we're going to go on up around the lake and see what there is to see. All along here there's turnouts where people park and they go down and fish. It seems like I've been here before. Grout Bay, picnic area, shallow into the lake. I thought I saw some lily pads. There's reeds and grass over here. This is one of the areas where, even though it's a picnic area you can just pull into for free, you do have to have the California Adventure Pass. I think the America the Beautiful covers everything for the country in that regard. I've got the California Pass. Yeah, it looks familiar. I gotta stick around because I'm not here to picnic. It's kind of interesting. I kid you not, people bicycle on this road. Saw a guy coming down the steep part of the hill a while ago. This is Fawnskin, 25 miles per hour. A little small town right next to the lake on the North Shore. There's the North Shore Trading Company. Grout Creek. Hannah Flat, I've camped there. Big Pine Flat. I have a cot this time, a real sleeping bag, and I made a lean-to. I'm determined not to freeze. Hi, it's Tala. I'm in the forest again. I'm at Pineknot Campground, which is a very short drive from Big Bear Lake, which is that way. I'm here overnight. I have a real sleeping bag and I put up a lean-to this time. I'm determined not to freeze. It's about 10 or 15 degrees warmer at night here right now than it was at South Fork. So I think I should get a good night's rest. However, fire restrictions, I can't have a fire. We're at that time of the year. Southern California is a desert, and here there are trees and it's a risk, and the breeze is picking up, so I get it. It's just always kind of sad. It's not my favorite way to camp. I don't like cold camping with no fire. So I just got my lab results from my new rheumatologist's set of lab work that she ran. I am in remission. I suspected it when I was taping over at South Fork. I mentioned that. I didn't know if I was really in remission or not. It turns out that I am. So my ANA result for the first time is down. My CRP and SED rate are almost non-existent, something I really didn't expect. I about fell off the exam table when I saw the results on the monitor. I'm in remission. So, yeah, a year and 9 or 10 months on Plaquenil, and there's results. I wish it was the same for everyone. I wish it was that easy for everybody. However, don't misunderstand me. It does not mean, the same as any other disease, remission does not mean that you are symptom-free. The last week or so I've had a petechial rash on my feet and my ankles, and they've been a little bit swollen. I've had stiffness, my hands hurt. There are still symptoms, the disease is still present, but I'm not taking the kind of active damage that I could if those inflammatory markers were climbing. So at least the inflammation itself that can be so harmful is under control. My white cell count is down a little bit. It's not considered at a level of concern right now, but that does tell me that I'm going to have to keep an eye on it. It can be a side effect of the Plaquenil, so it's okay, but I will be watching it. It's a balancing act. It always is. Obviously, I've had enough improvement to get out and do some of the things that I have been, hiking, camping, those things that I love that I had given up on that I mentioned before. And it's great, but I am always aware that I still have to be cautious. I still have to be diligent. I have to eat the right things. I have to put my sunblock on. I didn't get it on my face early enough today, so I'm a little pink. You constantly remind yourself of these things. When you're feeling good, you don't really stop to think about it. You might run out and do something and then have to pay the price later, even when you're in remission. It's a reprieve, not a cure. Cancer patients have to monitor even when they're told that they are in remission. So like any other disease, it still has to continue to be managed. I can do that. I've done harder. I've gone through all of the management process while I felt miserable. So I think I can manage it while I feel pretty good. So I was just remembering something that my father said to me when I was little. We used to camp when I was young too. And we were at this campground, and there was a hill nearby that I asked him, I said, "What's on the other side of that hill?" And he said, "Another hill." I thought about it, and I said, "Well, what's on the other side of that hill?" He said, "Another hill." Well, at this point, I don't know if I looked at him in disbelief or laughed, but he says, "Come on, I'll show you." So me and my dad and my brother went walking, and we went over this little hill, and there was, to my amazement, a ravine and another hill. Well, you can guess that we walked over that one, and I think the third one, I think at that point I probably gave up. I was pretty young, and when I walked too far I was getting tired, but it made the point. I don't know, I think about that sometimes. There's another hill. There's always another hill. Doesn't really matter. If you want to walk over it, you walk over it. That's what you do. I think I just felt like showing this, last time I showed the fire was like properly built. Light it once it starts. But I didn't show you how I built it. So I mean, this is my thing. Crisscrossed, like you're building a log cabin with small sticks and twigs. And I do put bundles of newspaper that are twisted up in the middle. But I take my knife and shave off whole bunches of pieces of the wood that I'm using. The thing is, sawdust and flakes of wood like this are really flammable. So I put a whole bunch of these in here into the pile, so when it's lit, there's fresh, dry tinder and it lights without any extra drama. So here's what I'm talking about. Newspaper, twist it in the middle, fold it, twist it here. It's like a villager torch. Okay. Here's what we're doing. This can go in here. I put a lot in there. It's like a little tinder box. But I put a lot because if this thing makes a liar out of me, I'll cry. So. No, just the lighter. What the? It's okay, I have another one. At this point, there are rude, inconsiderate jerks playing their music, rock music, really loud, in another campsite. That'll likely be in the background of everything. Hot. You know, presumably, lighting those spots should be enough. I usually don't have to huff and puff and blow on it. I usually don't have to give it a whole lot of tending or oxygen or anything. It should be built in such a way that it just goes up. Here we go. Sometimes you need to do a little bit of arranging, make sure it's got enough air. But it's going. And going. And going. See, now everything that's in there, all those little bits of tinder are going to light. And then successive sizes of the sticks. Being that I have mild asthma, it's not good for me to get down there and have to blow on the fire, so building it in such a way that you don't have to do that is a good idea. There it goes. After those are going really good, put the bigger pieces of wood on there. Got some there, some over there. I like to keep them close to the fire so they stay dry, so if I have to stoke it up later with pieces I haven't used, they're not damp. Cool. Okay, look at this. I was so proud of my ingenuity and my little lean-to on the other side of the table because it's kind of a flat area. I'm rethinking it now. Now that I could have a fire, how can I move this around? Really? Yeah, it's about 5:15 a.m. I woke up, it was still dark. And it got down to 41 degrees, I guess. So, I really, really felt like I needed fire.